Not so long ago, Sam Bankman-Fried, a billionaire before the age of 30, was taking meetings at the White House, and celebrities like Tom Brady and Larry David were on the payroll of his crypto firm. But now, this former billionaire and the founder of FTX and Alameda Research, both bankrupt companies, has pleaded not guilty to federal charges of fraud and money laundering. No journalist has been closer to the rise and fall of these firms than best-selling author Michael Lewis. In last night's 60 Minutes, Lewis talked with John Wertheim about why Bankman-Fried went from trading cryptocurrency to owning his own exchange.
One of the things he notices is that all of the crypto exchanges are screwed up in one way or another. There are dozens of these places where you can trade crypto, but they're not structured for a professional trader. The technology is bad. They'll lose their customers' money. It's the Wild West. Right. He realizes that if you built a better exchange, he wanted to build an exchange he could trade on. So he creates FTX. And once he created it, it went boom. And when it went boom, he realized that, well, that's the gold mine. It actually isn't trading the crypto.
This is owning the casino,
It's owning
right?
the casino. He started as a gambler, and he realized that, building the better casino was actually going to be more valuable.
Michael Lewis was given what he calls total access to FTX and its employees for his new book. It's called Going Infinite: The Rise and Fall of a New Tycoon. It's the latest in a series of blockbusters about the modern financial world. And Michael Lewis joins us now. Thank you very much for being here.
Total pleasure to be here.
You can write about just about anything and make it interesting. And you have your choice of subjects because you are who you are. Tell us why you found Sam Bankman-Fried both interesting enough, worthy of your attention, but also, for the people who are in doubt, important enough.
Oh my God. So this goes back 2 years. A friend called me out of the blue and said, will you evaluate this person for me because I'm about to do a business deal with him. He's the richest person in the world under 30, and no one knows who he is.
People are saying he might be the world's first trillionaire at that point.
Yes, and I never heard of him. Sam Bankman-Fried, FTX. He shows up on my front porch and I take him for a walk. 2 hours later, I turned to him and I said, my jaw was on the ground. I don't know where this is going, but I just want to watch. He had set out 8 years before to make money, to give it away, essentially to attack the existential risk to humanity. But he's earning to give was the idea.
Yeah.
And starting with basically zero was now worth $22.5 billion and was stress testing like all the systems in the world, American media, American politics, philanthropy. I mean, he just lit up. He was teaching us about the world, how it worked, just by his mere existence.
Yeah.
Like money had never been made that fast in history.
That friend who asked you to kind of kick the tires on who this guy was, I believe you recommended that, the guy do make the investment in the company.
I was so excited by this character that I called him and I said, yeah, do it, what could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
Well, we're still talking about whether I belong in management consulting.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you guys still friends? But this is the thing. I was fascinated by your take on him. You describe him as he was a big gamer, and he looked less like a crypto tycoon than a first grader who needed to pee. You talk about his legs shaking all the time. He wore crumpled shorts and walked around in socks. His parents said he was never comfortable with being a kid, was never comfortable with kids. He was peculiar, you said. What was your take? And he judged everything by calculation.
So here's
what was your thing with him?
So when I first asked him, give me a list of people that knew you before the age of 18 who could tell me about what you were like. And he said, there's nobody.
Nobody.
His childhood was so isolated. And in childhood, he was like he was born with a grown-up mind, and he was just waiting for everybody else to grow up so they could talk to him. And childhood made no sense to him. But then what's also odd is when he gets to be a grown-up, he reads as a kid. That, he's at age 30, he's in shorts and T-shirt, and he has all the mannerisms of a little kid.
But what do you mean, Michael, that everything
he's never really in place in society. He's never connected to other people.
But everything was a calculation, you said, for him. I found that, and what does that mean, a calculation for him?
He would be the first to admit that he figured out from a very young age that he wasn't born with a normal complement of human feelings.
Yeah.
Like empathy, just didn't have it. The oddest thing he couldn't do was make facial expressions. So he realized, at some point in childhood that people weren't relating to him because when you said something that was supposed to be funny, you didn't pretend to laugh, And so he had to learn how to pretend to laugh. In front of a mirror, taught himself facial expressions.
Yeah.
So what he's doing is kind of decoding the way people are so he can fit in. And you see him in the story, like getting better and better at projecting as a normal person when the mechanisms behind it are not normal at all.
You know, on the 60 Minutes sit down, what I found fascinating was that analogy about the casino, going from gambler to owning the casino.
Yep.
Sounds good in theory, until we all realize that the slot machines are rigged, or allegedly rigged. You say that you have doubts in the prosecution's case. Why do you have doubts?
So I didn't intend to set out, I'm not his lawyer. And
Yeah, of course not.
No, I intended to put the reader in the position of the jury. I said, look, you're going to hear stories in the courtroom. 2 stories. It's a story war. Defense is going to tell one story, use one set of facts. Prosecution is going to tell another story, use another set of facts. This is a much better story, and it's got all the facts in it. And when all the facts are in it and they're in context, I'll put it this way, that the people who have the most doubt about his intent to defraud are the people who know the most.
And some of them are supposedly witnesses against him.
The closer you get to it, the more mysterious it is.
But how do you explain he has $8 billion, though?
You don't, no. Clearly, look,
Yeah.
clearly, there $8 billion, it was more than $10 billion,
Okay.
which was supposed to be in the exchange.
In the exchange.
Was in his private hedge fund.
Yes. And he's
Now,
a smart guy, Michael.
Yeah.
Michael, but this book began with you taking him for a walk to figure him out. Is it possible along the way that at some point he took you for a walk?
I'm not dumb.
Okay, I know.
And not only that, I have all the facts available to. I mean, I got to grill him left, right, and center.
Yeah.
I got to grill all the people around him left, right, and center.
But Michael, that's a good question. What's your answer? I like that.
Yeah, and a good con doesn't let you know he's a con.
Right.
But
I'm not calling him one, I'm just saying.
So it's an easier story to tell if you just say he's a con man. If it's a simple con, if it's like the Bernie Madoff story, it's clearly not that. It's a little hard to get across in 2 minutes of conversation, a lot of complicated details we need to get into.
Right.
But I mean, just the questions, a lot of it doesn't make sense. A lot of...
Kind of like crypto.
Yeah.
Kinda like
Here's a
crypto.
yes or no question. Is crypto bullpucky?
First, you got to explain what bullpucky is.
I think we know. I think we know.
Do we know? Well, so crypto it's interesting because there's a technology under it that's interesting, and however, it's always been this solution in search of a problem.
Yeah.
Like it's unclear what it's for is the problem.
I'm going to take that as we'll have to talk about it in the commercial. Lewis, thank you very much. The book is called Going Infinite. It's going to be terrific. I've read it. It is good. It's on sale tomorrow wherever you like to buy your books.